Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for stopping by to check out my latest video. And today I'm really excited as I'm here for part of the Shabby Ornaments Collab hosted by Amy Love here on YouTube. She invited me to participate in this collab and to create a shabby style ornament to share with you guys. We also had the option of adding on a tutorial if we wanted to, and so I will be adding on a tutorial on how to create this lovely shabby style ornament in my hand. As you can see, there's beautiful flowers on it, flat back pearls, and of course the tassel at the bottom. I do also want to mention that I will be giving this one away, and I will have all of the information listed in the description box, and I will also talk about it at the end of the video after the tutorial. But before I get into the tutorial, I did want to let everybody know that if you open up the description box, besides finding the information about the giveaway, I also have links for all of the other wonderful ladies who are participating in this collab. I know I'm excited to watch all of their videos to see what they have also created for shabby style ornaments. And hopefully you guys will also check them out. Again, I've made it really easy for you, and I've put all of their links below in the description box. Thank you again so much for stopping by, and enjoy the tutorial. To create this beautiful shabby ornament, I am going to start off with a paper mache ornament that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. And I picked these up last year when they were like 80% off, I think. But you can also find them for at 50% off during the holiday season, and they are currently $1.99 if you buy them at regular price. And so to begin with, I am going to paint the ornament, and most likely I will need to do 2 coats of paint. I'm choosing to use chalk paint today, and you are going to need 2 contrasting colors. And I'm going to use this ballet slipper by Waverly. It's like craft chalk paint. You can also, if you don't have chalk paints, you can also use like acrylic paints, hobby paints. Those work well. And I'm just going to put a little bit on my little palette here just to play with. And you don't need very much to paint. And again, you most likely are going to need to do 2 coats of this first color. We are going to create a crackle effect. And what I like to do is once I've painted these, I do have a little ornament tree here off the side of my desk that I use to hang on them. But if for some reason you don't have one of those, you can just paint half at a time and put it like in a little cup. And just paint like the bottom half or the top half, and then flip it when it dries and do the other half. Just a couple little hints to help. And again, I'm just going to paint this real quick. So you are going to want to paint 2 coats of this chalk paint. And you do need a full coverage, so you don't want to see the paper mache after it dries. So I am going to let this dry and apply a second coat of paint. So here's what the paper mache ornament looks like with the first 2 coats of the pink chalk paint on it. And the next step is we're going to apply a crackle medium to it. And I'm using Folk Art crackle medium from Hobby Lobby. There are other brands on the market. Just make sure you read the directions on how to make a crackle effect on your paints. And this particular one, you put your base coat on, then you add the crackle medium, let it dry, and then you put a contrasting color on top of it. And usually I like to start off with my darker color and then go lighter. So I'm going pink, and then my next layer will be white. I am going to paint this crackle medium onto my ornament, and you want a nice even coat of this, and you try not to overwork it. So I just will do one little section at a time and then move on to the next section. So I do have it all applied, so I'm going to let that dry, and it'll take about an hour for this to dry, and I will be back after it's dried for the next step. So the layer of crackle medium has dried, and I know that this probably won't show as well on camera, but it is shiny after I painted over it. And I did notice one thing that I did do off camera after I was done painting is as it was hanging up, it did start to drip a little bit, the crackle medium. So what I ended up doing is I did take my heat tool and I did just kind of lightly dry it. I didn't dry it 100% because I wasn't sure how it was going to affect the crackle medium, but I just did it enough so that it wasn't going to drip. So I did want to tell you guys that I did that step off camera, that I did lightly use my heat tool just to heat it up enough so that it wouldn't drip. And so now the next step is to take your lighter color and we're going to paint another layer over this. And I believe we're only going to need one coat of paint for this, and I'm using the white. And sometimes if your paint, like this chalk paint, is too thick, you can add water to it if you need to lighten it a little bit. I think this one will be fine. And that's way more than I needed, so I'll have to find something else to paint after I'm done with this. But I'm going to go ahead and paint this, and then again I'm going to have to let this dry. And I don't know, the crackle effect really doesn't show up until after it's starting to dry. So we'll just see here what it looks like if I just get one side done here. And again, you don't want to overwork the paint too much, because I am going for a little bit of a crackle effect. So I'm going to continue to paint this off camera, and I will be back after it thoroughly dries. But you can see already that it is already starting to crackle. So everything has dried, and this is what it looks like. I just love the look of the crackled paint on my ornament. And the next step is to go ahead and decorate it, which is of course my favorite part of it. And I have decided today that I'm going to put a different hanger on mine, and I also want to attach a tassel at the bottom. And so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to cut off the little gold one right up here. And to add a new hanging mechanism, I am going to put a hole through it. You could, if you wanted to, depending upon how you're decorating it, you could just glue some sort of ribbon down on it if you knew for sure that you were going to hide it somehow in your decorating process. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put a ribbon on a long needle with a fairly large eye on it, and I'm just going to poke it through. And if I can't poke it through with a needle, I do have a little pokey tool that will work. And I'm not going to go very far down on the top here. It's probably about maybe the size of the eye of the needle, if you want to know the exact size. And then so I'm just going to poke it through, and it seems like it's going to poke through pretty easily, and I'm just going to poke it through straight to the other side. And it's not perfect, and that's okay, because it's a little kitty wampus. It's not quite parallel, but that'll be fine for what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the string through, because I am going to decorate the top with some flowers, so it'll hide that little mistake. It's not a big mistake, just a small little mistake. I meant to do it a little straighter. Sometimes it's hard when you're recording on TV to have it exactly perfect. And I'm just going to tie a knot on the top of mine so that it'll hang nicely from a tree. And then the other thing you're going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and poke again through the bottom, because again I want to hang some sort of tassel on the bottom, and I want to put my hole in there right away. And I might as well just put my holes on the same sector or the same segment. I don't know, I'm going to try to go a little straighter this time, but I don't know if I can do that. Trying to stay on camera too. I'll try to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see again here. I can kind of see where it wants to poke out here, so I'm just going to flip it around and just poke it from this side also. And so that's a little bit better than I did the first time. And for this one, you could, if you want to hang a tassel from like a ribbon, start it off with a ribbon maybe, you could do that, or you could also use some sort of beading wire and put that through. I am going to hook one of these rings onto it, and I'm not quite sure what size these are. Here's some bigger ones in the actual package that they just are called rings. You buy them in the jewelry section, but these ones are smaller. This one says 22 millimeters, and this is at least half that size, just for comparison. I'm not quite sure what size these are. They've been in my stash for a while. So I got to decide, do I want to hang it off of a ribbon, or do I want to hang it off of some sort of beading wire? I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it on the ribbon again. And in case I didn't mention it earlier, the ribbon is just kind of your basic ribbon, and this one I believe is, the width is 1/8 or 3 millimeters, if anybody needs to know that. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hook. I might wait to hook this on, so I'm just going to leave this loose. I'm not going to tie it, but I wanted it on here just so that when I do my tassel, it'll be easier to attach it. But what I will end up doing is tying this on, and then I'll have all my tassel pieces hanging off of this little metal ring. And of course, you don't have to add a tassel on the bottom. If you just want to decorate the bottom and leave it as is, you can definitely do that. That's what's nice about these ornaments, is there's a lot of different ways to go ahead and decorate them. So to start the decorating process, I am going to start off with some braid trim, or some gimp trim is what it's also called. And I'm going to go around each of the pointed sides of this ornament, and I'm just going to glue that down, and you can use whatever type of adhesive you like. I'm going to use hot glue today. I do like to do little bits at a time and kind of form the trim around the edges as I'm gluing it down. And I will be doing each piece separately. You could, if you wanted to, wrap it around and go up again, but I don't want to add extra bulk on the bottom right at this moment in time. And I'm going to continue to work my way around the ornament. So that's what one completed side looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of this ornament. So again, here's what it looks like after having glued all those gimp trims down on the edges. And then the next step is I do like to add some sort of embellishment to the top and the bottom just to clean it up a little bit. I just don't like all the look of the hot glue. And so I am going to use, you could use like some sort of bling, or in my case, I think I'm going to use some flat back pearls. So for the next step is I am going to decorate each of the sides, and you can, if you want, add like scrapbooking paper images. Maybe if you have like some decoupage paper that you want to add, you could do that. You could add appliques or trim, and today I'm going to be using some little flowers that I got off of this trim right here. I did cut them off, and I'm going to be adding them, and I'm just going to I'm going to start off, I think, with every other and see what it looks like, and then if I decide after that if I want more, I'll add more on there. But I'm going to do every other because there's 6 sides to this. So let's start with every other. And again, I'm just going to use hot glue, but use whatever type of adhesive you like best. And so that's what we have so far. Like I said, I could add another in here, but I'm thinking I might want to do some flat back pearls and go down the whole middle of this. And I have 3 different sizes of flat back pearls that I'm going to be using. I'm going to start off with just one big one, and then the next size smaller right there, and then I'm going to go with the smallest one on top. And I'm going to do that go in both directions. So that's what it looks like. I'm going to continue to do that on the other 2 sides. Here's what it looks like so far. And next, I think I'm also going to add some flat back pearls underneath where I had put the flowers. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to do that in the top and the bottom. So again, here's what it looks like with those extra added pearls on it. This ornament is really starting to take shape. And then next, I do want to add, as I look at it, I feel like this still needs to be cleaned up a little bit more up at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to take some more of that GIMP trim, and I'm going to wrap it around. You could also wrap around ribbon also, or maybe tie a big bow would be another option. Just has a little bit neater of a top on it. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the bottom, and then we're going to go ahead and decorate the top and make a tassel. So here's what it looks like after I cleaned up the edges a little bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and decorate the top just a little bit. And I usually like to start where I started and ended the GIMP trim up here. That's where I'm going to glue my flowers on and decorate up there, just to that'll just hide that a little bit more. And I picked out these pretty little flowers right here, and so for sure I think I want to glue down 2 of these, maybe 3. I also have a couple of leaves that I can add, and so I usually just start by gluing one down and kind of playing from there. So that's what that cluster looks like, and I'm just going to hold it up for a second and decide if I want to add a couple leaves. So I'm just going to see what that looks like. I think I do like the look of adding a couple of leaves. You know, and after you hang it up on the Christmas tree, you can, of course, you know, play with it a little bit to see how much of the leaves you want sticking out, or you can kind of bend them down a little bit. So I'm liking how that looks. And after much thinking, I think I'm just going to nestle just one of these little white snowflakes in here and glue that in. And you just kind of get a little hint of the snowflake in there. And I do have one more that I could put. I think I'm going to put one more up on this opposite corner. So I think I'm going to call that good for the top part of my ornament. Again, that's kind of what it looks like going all the way down. So the last thing I want to do is add a tassel to the bottom of this ornament. Of course, if you like the way that it looks, you could just stop there. But again, I wanted to add a tassel. And so earlier I had those ribbons that I had strung through. And I'm just going to tie it in a knot at the bottom. And I'm going to tie the ring pretty close to the bottom. Again, I'm just going to hang it in a knot. So after tying your ring securely, you are going to take laces and trims and you're going to pull them through your ring. So I'm going to grab a few different pieces here. So I have some lace, some pretty lace. I just have a basic piece of ribbon. I have an eyelash trim. And maybe let's do a pearl. And I like to try, you can do these in, you can do one at a time through the ring, or you can try and do several at a time, which is what I like to try and do. And so sometimes I'll twist the top kind of together so it's easier to grab on the other side. And I got 3 of the 4. This one came loose, so and so I just kind of pull it through so it's kind of folded over. And I'll just run this pearl one through. And then I usually like to try and hold with one of my hands. Hold it kind of tight so then it makes it easier to string a few more things. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some more trims here and do the same thing. I'll just try to grab some different trim. So again, I'm going to string a few more through and just fold them over. So I'm kind of liking the way this is looking. So here's what it looks like so far. I'm going to go ahead and continue to do the rest of my trim sitting here. So I finished stringing all of mine through, and as you can see, it is pretty fat. There's a lot of trims. I do like to kind of hold it up a little bit, and if you need to do any adjusting before you tie it off, like if you have one that's particularly longer than another one, you can just pull it a little bit. And you can also, of course, trim it at the very end also. So once you think you're happy with that, we're going to go ahead and tie it off. But one thing I think I am going to do first is up where I tied the knot, up here, I'm just going to put just a little dab of hot glue. Not a lot, just a little bit just to secure it in place. And I'm just going to bring these down, these 2 pieces of extra that I used when I tied it off. I'm just going to bring those and add them to the same pile here of trims. And then I'm going to take another ribbon and I'm just going to tie this around the top. I want to take one last look at it and make sure I like it before I tie this into a knot. So I'm going to go ahead and tie this one that I just wrapped around into a knot. And I'm going to trim it so that it looks about the same as everything else that's hanging there. And then to finish it off, I'm just going to take another piece of trim. And I'm just going to glue this around the, and then I'm going to add a little flower embellishment to that. So I'm just going to, like I said, add a little hot glue. And I'm going to glue this trim also around. You could, if you wanted to, also, instead of making your own tassel, you could just buy a store-bought tassel. So that's what it looks like so far, and you can call that good if you want, or you can add any embellishments you want to the top of the tassel. Like you could add, you know, some more of the flowers that we used at the top. That would look really cute if you have some ribbon roses. You know, like I have a couple of white ribbon roses in this box. I could add some of those. You could add some more snowflakes around there, which that would be really cute. I just only have one on my desk, so I did pull these out of my stash thinking I'm gonna add these onto my ornament tassel, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna put one on both the front side and the back side, and then I think I might add maybe another pearl or two. So I'm gonna do that. And then on the back side, I'm going to put one more. And then I'm thinking I might put a flat back pearl in between those. It would look really cute too just to put flat back pearls all the way around. Also, instead of, you know, using I just use kind of some basic trim to tie around, but if you had some specialty trim or lace that you wanted to use as your front and center piece, you could definitely do that, or maybe some small flower trim would look pretty also. And so there is our tassel. So here's what it looks like now. And I think the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some more of the GIMP trim and I'm just going to glue it around right through around here, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a finished look. So I do like that better with the extra GIMP trim wrapped around the string, and I think it looks really lovely. Thank you again so much for watching today's video and tutorial. Hopefully you'll be able to check out all the other ladies who are participating in the collab by opening up the description box and checking out their links for their videos. And as I mentioned earlier, I will be giving away this beautiful shabby style ornament. And it's really easy if you are interested in receiving this ornament or having a chance at it. Number one, you do need to be 18 years of age or older. Number two is I am asking that everyone be subscribed to my channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And number three, you need to leave a comment. And in that comment, tell me one of your favorite things about Christmas, just so that I know I can separate out the people who maybe watched the video but weren't interested in being part of the giveaway. So again, if you are interested in winning this ornament, tell me what your favorite thing is about Christmas in your comment, just so that I know you are interested in receiving this ornament or being part of the giveaway. And then also the only other little rule I have is that I must be able to mail it from the US to your country. Any US or international is fine. I'm willing to mail it wherever, as long as I can mail it to your country. And also, if there's any taxes or duties or anything like that, those are your responsibility. So I did want to mention that. But otherwise, US and international. I'm willing to mail at either location. So again, thank you everybody so much for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed my video. And again, don't forget to check out everybody else's video. Until next time, have a wonderful day and happy crafting.